I think right now in this moment is unlike any time maybe anyone even alive has ever lived through. There is crazy things going on right now in the world that a lot of people aren't aware of, and it's probably not what you're thinking out there.
Today I interview technical analyst Tom Crown, and based on the charts, Tom gives a pretty shocking Bitcoin price prediction. Be sure to watch the full video for a full understanding. And very quickly, how does macro relate to Bitcoin? And Tom, who are you?
I think maybe, I'll tell your audience, I'm a bit of a maxi, not the kind you think, but I believe in Bitcoin totally, like 100%. And so when I see macro things, I definitely try to take them into account, but I have a bias where at the end of the day, I don't believe Bitcoin can be defeated. And so it almost doesn't matter what the macro is. I think it's going to have a moment where it thrives. And it's likely that moment would be where it's ignoring, the most compelling macro factors. That's probably my best answer on that.
So let's talk about next price target for Bitcoin, because we have rallied a lot in 2023. What do you see in the charts for next?
I'm pretty bullish on this year. I do have some concerns though. Like basically, I'm feeling some similar vibes to when we had 2018. We had a really a prolonged bear period, and everyone kind of thought the bottom was in around 6K, and then we fell down to 3, and desperation was everywhere. And I got those vibes actually at the end of last year, that same desperation. And kind of in a very mirroring fashion, into 2019, we saw an awesome rally that just blew everyone's socks off at that point. We got a pretty similar rally in January. It hasn't had the same characteristics of 2019 so far, but I am using that as my guide for this year. So I think to answer that, I'm bullish on this year. I'm not convinced that it is going to be the rally yet. I'm hoping I'm wrong though, right?
So more of a crypto spring instead of a crypto summer. I've heard this. Show me the charts. I want to see what you're looking at.
Sure. So in the short term, I shared this on BitBoy's channel mid-March. This is just a basic pattern. It's called a broadening wedge. And I have them numbered here. And basically what it is 3 touches to the top of a trend, 2 to the bottom, and you break out. And so what's cool about this is when I shared it originally, it looked like this. So maybe a little bit more meaningful for the viewers out there. Like right now, this is, it's pretty easy to say, yeah, well, it already happened, right? That's not really predicting much. So what I'm seeing here in the very short term, or maybe in the next few weeks, is I was looking for a pullback to that trend, which we got. I think this low here at 26.5 left everyone waiting. Everyone was looking for this 200 weekly moving average that all traders were looking at. We finally retook it mid-March, and we didn't quite get the right pullback. Orders weren't filled. Lots of capital was left on the sideline still. And I think that is the recipe for another move to the upside. So by the end of the year, I'm probably looking in the 48,000 range. I know that might be some hopium, but maybe a shorter term, more satisfying target. I'm looking for like 32K maybe in this month of April.
So you think $42,000 roughly to just get everybody excited enough, thinking we are back in bull run territory, and then multi-month correction after that?
Yeah, that's a really intuitive statement you just made that I totally agree with. Is what is the value that everyone believes we're back in a bull market? And my personal opinion is actually 48, though 42 is actually like the lower range of that. 48 to like 50,000 is that number where I think it hits people in the brain, and their brain goes, why are you waiting? You've been waiting since, 15. Why are you waiting? Whatever number really gets everyone super excited again and very confident that the bull market is back, that is where I believe it is most likely to find a reversal and to see price maybe mirror 2020, hopefully not exactly the same, knock on wood, but where we see, that explosive growth and then kind of back to reality, crushing a little bit of that euphoria, and then making the final move up to a new all-time high.
Tom, I want you to take us back to the charts. I want to zoom out a little bit and ask you, based on the TA today, give me a price target or range for Bitcoin by end of year.
So by end of year, that doesn't really change up much. I'm really looking for a similar move to 2019 until proven wrong. I'd love to see a new all-time high this year. But all we really have when we look at charts is past data, and that gets criticized a lot. And I understand why. It doesn't guarantee a future, but it is all we have to work with. So I always ask, well, what else will we look at? What else are we using as a reference? So if we use 2019 as a reference, like I did with the 48,000-ish area, I think what we see is a run up similar to 2019 that extends to roughly the same. We call it retracement in trading. And so retracement is just when price moves in one direction and then turns around and comes back. And retracements try to target what percent of that has it lost. So if it goes up 100%, comes back 50%, it's retraced half, right? It's lost half of its gains. And if we compare 2019 to the bull run and the highs we had of 21, around 69,000, we see that there's some similarities here. It would be a really similar retracement. It is 786. Don't worry, the specific number isn't really important. It's just kind of judging how much of the gains or losses did it give back. And on top of that, we saw the all-time high previously close its monthly candles at around 14,000. That's where 2019 hit as its high. And we have a pretty similar thing going on in 2022. This like probably looks like Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with all the lines everywhere and the guy yelling. But at this point, I'll just lean into it. So like 45-ish, this is a rejection on the monthly level. If we want to make it exactly the same, it doesn't really line up quite as well. That'd be 60. I think that it's really hard. The zone here that I'm looking for this year, which I believe is reasonable, is somewhere in the range of like 42 to maybe as high as 60, but I think as a safety call, like 50. I think that we do see those numbers. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see them in the first half of the year, which doesn't give us that much time now. But until we can really push past, and what sucks is that number gets really high where you can actually even look for confirmation. We're stuck in this like 2019 thing until proven otherwise.
I understand what you're saying now. It makes sense. You're saying that just like 2019 rallied in the middle and then fizzled out and consolidated by the end, you're saying that the highest you believe until proven otherwise we will go in 2023 is between 42 to 48, somewhere around there, a la 2019.
I think those are great targets for this year. And I think the thing that will be the staple of it, though, is what you pointed out earlier, is notice the people around you and what they're feeling, because sentiment is so important in this market. Once everyone is convinced that the bull market is back, no doubts, you see perma bears, people who have been calling down, for years, turning around and saying, hey, we're going up now. That's probably going to mark the top the same way it always has. I really do hope I'm wrong. I really hope we see a new all-time high this year. It wouldn't fit anything we've seen in the past, but I will say that I don't believe that 2021 really fit anything we've seen in the past either. When you look at upside growth and now even potentially the draw down from the high, just doesn't really fit. So maybe we have a recipe for a really exciting year. I certainly hope so.
Final question before I pick your brain. We're doing a full another interview on Dogecoin, on XRP, on altcoins from a TA point of view. Biggest counter narrative to say that this time is different than 2019 is the Fed is actively taking money out of the system. We're raising rates an ultra aggressive amount. Very different. Thoughts?
I think right now in this moment is unlike any time maybe anyone even alive has ever lived through. There is crazy things going on right now in the world that a lot of people aren't aware of. And it's probably not what you're thinking out there. For instance, the first intranational LPN gas deal between China and France was settled in the yuan. It might not sound crazy, but that means they bypassed the dollar. I'm not going to have any doom predictions here today. I'm not going to say the dollar will fall or something like that, but this is unprecedented times. We have not seen this, I believe, since 1920 or something like that, since the US became the reserve. There is maybe, again, no one alive that has ever experienced what we're seeing right now. And I wish I knew the future, man. I don't know if I'd be doing this interview if I knew the future. I'd probably be out on an island somewhere.
So you're saying that now is the time to believe in Bitcoin because there's crazy macro stuff going on in the world. This is Bitcoin's moment.
I think those are great words too. Yes, in a way, yes. please don't put every penny you have or something into Bitcoin and mortgage your house or something. Take huge risks. Don't do that. But if you're sitting there and you have never had exposure in your portfolio to Bitcoin, I believe even a small percent, even a tiny, maybe something that feels insignificant, could turn out in a maybe only short multi-year time frame to be a really significant investment looking back.
Tom Crown Crypto, links for your stuff are down below. You have great perspective. I want to have you back on 6 to 8 weeks.